Within your baby's first year of life, their brain will double in size and form over 1 million neural connections every single second. And that makes this the single most critical window for neurological development your child will ever have. And yet, most parents are told to just track milestones. First miles, first roll, first steps. And if something feels off, the answer is almost always the same. Wait and see, or they'll grow out of it. But what if your baby is technically hitting milestones while their nervous system is struggling underneath? What if the foundation is cracked and nobody is checking it? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Because your baby's first year is about so much more than a checklist. Here's something most parents don't realize. A baby can technically pass every developmental screening while still having underlying neurological dysfunction that'll impact their health, learning, and behavior for years to come. The conventional model checks whether your baby can roll at 6 months, but it doesn't check whether that roll is symmetrical, coordinated, or built on proper foundational development. Many families come to our office saying the same thing. I knew something was off, but everyone told me not to worry. And we hear that every single week. So let's go over your baby's nervous system as the air traffic controller. During the first year, your baby's brain has an extraordinary ability to form new pathways and adapt, which is called neuroplasticity. Okay? That same neuroplasticity that makes rapid development possible also makes the nervous system uniquely vulnerable to stress. So, a word we have in the office, it's the chiropractic term is called subluxation, which is neurological interference from prenatal stress or birth trauma. And that can develop early and create lasting patterns of dysfunction. And that dysfunction usually shows up as dysautonomia, an imbalance between the gas pedal, which is sympathetic, and the brake pedal, the parasympathetic, which throws everything off balance. So when the foundation is stressed, every milestone that follows is built on shaky ground. So I want you to also look at that every milestone is actually a neurological test. Your baby's ability to latch and feed is their first major neurological assessment. It requires multiple cranial nerves and precise timing between the nervous system and muscles. Then, head control, which happens around 8 to 12 weeks, tells us how the cervical spine and deep neck muscles are developing. Right? The 4 months sleep regression isn't aggression at all. It's evidence of major neurological reorganization. And the big one, crawling, is one of the most neurological significant milestones. It stimulates balanced development of the brain's hemispheres and builds a foundation for walking and reading. Now, babies who skip crawling or crawl asymmetrical often struggle later with learning, coordination, or behavioral regulation. The important thing is the sequence of development matters far more than the speed. Now, I talk about a lot the perfect storm. That disrupts development. So the perfect storm describes how multiple stressors stack up and overwhelm your baby's developing nervous system. Now, this usually starts before birth with prenatal stress and chronic stress during pregnancy, which affects fetal brain development. And then we get to the birth itself, and birth interventions like Pitocin, forceps, vacuum extraction, and C-sections can place significant pressure on your baby's head, neck, and nervous system. And then once we get baby home, after birth we see disrupted sleep patterns, overstimulation, early antibiotic exposure, and feeding challenges pile on even more stress onto our kids. And each layer pushes the nervous system further into sympathetic dominance, causing them to be stuck in fight or flight when they should be calm and regulated. Now, understanding this isn't about guilt, okay? It's about recognizing why some babies struggle more and how we can help. So, I want to talk to you about why that wait and see misses the window for all of us. Conventional pediatric care checks whether milestones happen within broad time ranges. It doesn't, not how well the nervous system is actually functioning. Like we said before, a baby can pass a screening while compensating through tension patterns, asymmetrical movement, or skip developmental stages. And then when parents express concerns about feeding, sleep, or excessive crying, they're often told these are normal variations. The problem with this is this approach misses the critical window where neuroplasticity is at its peak, and gentle support can have the most profound impact. What conventional care consistently overlooks is the assessment of subluxation and dysautonomia, the interference and imbalance that doesn't show up on standard tests. So tell most parents, your instincts really do matter. If you feel something is off, please trust that. Now I'm talking about how neurological focused chiropractic care can help. So at our office, we use advanced insight scanning technology to objectively measure your baby's nervous system function. We do 3 tests: the gentle, the non-invasive scans. They measure heart rate variability, muscle tension, and temperature regulation. And then adjustments for infants use an incredibly gentle touch, often no more pressure than you'd use to check the ripeness of a tomato. So, as most people ask us, our care adapts to each developmental phase. So in your early weeks, focus on regulation and feeding. Later months, support motor development, sensory processing, and social interaction. Rather than waiting for problems to develop, we take a proactive approach, supporting optimal function from the very beginning. And many families see remarkable improvements in feeding, sleeping, and development when subluxation is addressed early on. So, your baby's first year represents the greatest opportunity you'll ever have to positively influence their neurological development and long-term health. The patterns established during this time last a lifetime. So please, if you sense something isn't quite right with your baby's feeding, sleeping, development, or regulation, trust those instincts. You don't have to wait and see. Click the link in our bio, DM us, or comment below to schedule your baby's first neurological evaluation with us at Vanella Chiropractic in Virginia Beach. Your baby isn't just learning to eat, sleep, and move, they're building the neurological foundation for their entire life. And let's make sure that foundation is nice and strong.